Hey, 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 Happy New Year.
You're living the dream.
The dream. The only dream. My dream.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so we've been talking quite a bit about all things 2021. But just to kind of name a few, we're talking about just things that have happened in this past year, things that haven't happened in this past year, people that we are truly missing, especially as of late. Betty White, we just love you. And just all the different things, all the growth that we've just experienced over this past year in regards to being, kept up still, thanks to COVID, and all the wonderful things that she does. So it's one of those things where I'm just, again, thankful for the breath in my lungs, thankful for a lot of things, but at the same time, just wow, we survived 2021.
We made it through another post-COVID year. Like who would have thought? Who would have known?
Okay, so we were kind of going down the list because I wasn't even aware of how many people we had lost to 2021 until we actually started, Googling it and looking it up. But I mean, first off, let's just talk about Michael K. Williams because that's the one that's on my, my computer screen right now. So when we talk about Michael K. Williams, if you don't know who he is, please Google him. Wonderful, beautiful Black actor. Recently seen on Lovecraft Country, HBO's Lovecraft Country, but he's been in other things. I do believe Moonlight, things along those lines. If you haven't seen that, please educate yourself. Beautiful soul. Of course, we talked about Betty White. I know Cicely's got her mug.
Dorothy. It says, "No, I will not have a nice day." So this is my homage to
Yeah,
Betty and Friends. And it
I
says
love
the
it.
Golden Girls on the back. Oop, turned it the wrong way. So the
Oh,
Golden Girls.
I
So yeah.
love that. That is so cute. And I know everyone on Earth right now is trying to find and hold on to their memorabilia of Golden Girls. So if you have it, cherish it at this point because the girls are slowly for real breaking up. So
Right.
it's just really kind of gosh, we talked about Madden, John Madden.
Mm-hmm.
Also passing this past year. Gosh, there was just a list of people that we feel like have left. But I will say that most of these people have lived long lives. So,
Yes.
of course, we mentioned, Michael K. Williams, he was only 54, 55. So I kind of keep that in mind. But I love the fact that most of the people, they lived very full lives and very
Mm-hmm.
lives of purpose. I'm gonna shout out to Ed Asner because Ed Asner was actually one of my favorite older characters from a show called The Mary Tyler Moore Show. For all
Oh
you
wow.
young millennials out there that don't know what that is, that was really popular back in the day. I used to watch the show with my grandparents, and so that's how I knew of him. And then later he popped up in more common things like Elf as Santa Claus. And things along those lines. So he became more of a household name that way, both with the young generation and this popular one. But I mean, there's just a slew of people that 2021 really helped make a statement. I think either in the beginning, the middle, or the end of the year. But there's a
Right.
lot of great things that also like amazingly good things that kind of came out of 2021. One is a little bit of lift on some of the restrictions for us to kind of move around and do amazing things. How about all of the accolades from our personal lives in regards to our families, in regards to
Yay.
our careers, things along those lines? So we celebrate all those wins for 2021. But I'm really excited for 2022 because we're walking into this season 4. Cicely, we're doing 4. Like,
It's
that
crazy.
blows my mind. Like, blows my mind that we are in season 4 right now. I feel like we've just been woo, 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 like one high after another high after another high. Like, we just
Right.
have really been skyrocketing. We are currently at 3,000 downloads thanks to every person who has picked up the More Than Graphics podcast, whether by passing and following us or just going from a suggestion or a lead from a friend. We really appreciate that word of mouth. I just feel
We
like
do.
it's one of those things where we just kind of this was just an idea kind of grew into a feeling, and then I acted on the feeling, and now me and Cicely are doing have been
Started from the
doing
bottom,
this.
now we're here. That's
Right,
that's it.
right. Come on, I'm for this. So I just kind of wanted to talk a little bit more about the themes So if you don't already know, if you haven't been a continuous follower, each month is a theme that we have picked out ahead of time. So it's really funny how these guests kind of align with the theme, whatever the theme for each month is. So obviously January, we're talking about New Year. So in the new year, there's new things, right? New things to learn, new things to get rid of. I'm currently working on a little bit of a clothes purge right now, things I need to get rid of. But the new year also brings new possibilities, right? New
Absolutely.
open doors, new affirmations, new ways that we can speak to ourselves and speak to each other. So I am so down for that type of growth always. So I'm really excited to kind of have a couple of people to talk about that topic, not only us, but other future guests as well. What about prioritize? That's another one, Cicely. That I feel
Yes.
like we are definitely on kind of on a 100%, like our DAR is on that.
Absolutely. And I think like as a mom, as someone who works, whether that be outside of the home or in the home, and like just as people who juggle many things, prioritization is actually something that's very hard to do. Like I don't know if it's like because we're getting older and there's more responsibilities, but I feel like when I was 18 or 19 and I was just in college and just had myself to just go to school and go to work, like priorities were easy. Like, homework, work, school, class, homework, party, like, very easy, very simple. My priorities were limited.
Right.
And then once I became a mom, and especially a single mom, and then once I grew my family, like I got married, I inherited more children. Once those things happened, then it's like your priorities shift, like your family dynamics change, like with your parents as they get older too. Then your kids are going through the different life stages as well. You're going through life stages, perpetual student. So there's always something to prioritize. And I joke with Ryan all the time, like this will be the first time he's ever had to endure nursing school with me because he got to miss, like we met at the end of 2019. So I had already graduated nursing school, so he got to miss that whole year and a half. Like, lucky him, he got to miss all the struggle. So now he gonna be involved in the struggle. So
Right.
I just let him know that like and he's had a piece of it because I was in school last January. I took one class and I took a break. So I'm just gonna only have one class this semester, thank God. And so he's gonna he got a taste of it back then, but it's just a lot of like the free time that I had, or the time that it really is like my lazy lounge, do nothing time, is now going to be studying time. And that's usually the time after we both come home from work that we have to like spend with each other and just, rewatch Game of Thrones or have family time. So after dinner, that time's pretty much gone. It'll be at least about an hour to an hour and a half a day of studying. So
okay,
that's going to be my priority, is passing this class.
Oh my gosh, I love that though, and I love the fact that you mentioned Game of Thrones because I'm so hyped for this new House of the Dragon.
Yes,
I'm so for it. Please bring all the good things. Please do not make it a repeat of the craziness of the last season of Game of Thrones.
Don't want it.
Keep it somewhere between the first and third seasons. The way that y'all put that together, yeah, that was magic.
Yes, beautifully executed. Keep it like that.
I love it. So March we've got rest. Oh my gosh.
Oh, which we're all gonna need.
Right. We're all
by March. We're gonna need the rest.
Who doesn't need that? So I feel like that's a topic that really needs to be talked about. That's right Absolutely. At the end of the first quarter of the year. So I know for a fact that I will definitely need rest after the first quarter. We're doing a lot of online course launching right now. And so that all happens in the first quarter of the year. So by March, I'm going to be like
ready,
pillow, like I'm about to crash, like 2 seconds.
And rest is underrated. Like I think when you're younger, and like this is everyone, most people don't appreciate rest, or like stopping, or just taking time to like reflect. Even if you don't reflect, sometimes like resting is literally turning off your phone, getting off the internet, not watching TV, like just literally taking a nap, and like actually, literal physical rest. Sometimes that is rest. Sometimes it's, resting your mouth. Like it's not talking. It's, being in tune with yourself. Sometimes it's like just being still. Like, we're always zooming back and forth to a million places. Sometimes like literally like, let me just sit still. I'm experiencing that currently. I'm fighting a cold. Luckily, it's not COVID, but I'm fighting just a bad cold. I haven't had a cold in forever. Like I had COVID last year in February, but I haven't had a cold in like almost 2 years. So it's kicking my butt. It is kicking my butt. And it's crazy to think about that because all the germs we used to be exposed to, they don't happen anymore. So then, when you get a cold, it's about to take me out. Like I was out from work today and I don't ever miss work. But I was like, I can't. Like, I'm going to come in. I share an office with 2 other people. They're going to be like, they're side-eyeing me all day. Right. I sound like this. I'm congested. I sounded worse this morning. I was like, I can't be in people's faces sounding like this and not feeling, up to par. Absolutely. So you have to understand like when to prioritize rest. And it's necessary. Like you got to rest so that you can be the best that you can be, whether that be for work, for your family, for yourself, whatever. Yes. But rest is so important. And I feel women especially, we don't give ourselves enough chances to rest and just be still for a little bit.
Yes, absolutely. I love that. And I think our 2 guests that we have planned for that are really going to help us open up some mental doors and let some things out of our mental windows and let the air out in some areas so that we can better rest. I'm so for that.
Absolutely.
So like April and May are like really big ones. April support. May is flourish, and support is like a really big one because I can't function without support. And I don't mean like cheerleading rah in my section. I do mean like all the physical support. I'll have a staff of 8 by
yay!
Insane. And that will also expand by summer into a staff of 10.
That's awesome.
That because we have interns. So it's one of the things where it's like, wow, like this grew very quickly and I wasn't expecting it to. But I'm glad because I can't function without support. Like I can't do what I do.
You can't grow.
Cicely and I have had many conversations before this one. Before it was a staff of 6, before it was a staff of 3, but when it was just measly on me and on one VA, that was just like, Danielle, you need to get some more help. Like you're doing a lot.
And then you'll no, it's okay. Like I'm fine. How? Where?
Yeah. And then this year was the year of do it, right? The year of yes in our Sean
yes
voice. So this was my year of yes, this 2021. So having that support, I want to hear all the things about support, both all the things we could do as friends, as people who are just in the office, as strangers. What can we do to support each other? I think that's so important.
Absolutely.
And then May flourish. I'm really excited about this because this particular guest we've had them individually on the show before, but they went on a joint venture. And so together, this is a new thing. And so I'm really excited about that because they're my good friends and they're good pals and they're amazingly in their own right magical. So,
and I'm excited for that for sure.
Yes. So flourish is all the things. And then June, July, we're talking about Reboot and Blaze. So Reboot is so necessary. I mean, this June, right? Beginning of summer. We do need a reboot about that
second half of the year.
Yes, I need to like restructure, reboot, like shut everything down. I want school to be ended. I mean, I'm sure I'll be looking for that summer cocktail and the baby pool like ASAP.
Oh, exactly.
So yeah, reboot, and then we have Blaze in July, which is my birthday month. I absolutely love this theme of Blaze because I feel like we don't think about setting a blaze in ourselves or setting a blaze in other people or how our blaze has helped other people blaze.
Right.
And so just being that flame, being that light for people, not necessarily in the dark, but just being present with another person, setting them ablaze is like, yeah, all the theme things, right?
I love it. All the fiery things. And I believe that July is part of Leo season. I think it's the end of July going into August. So, lion, fiery, I think it works.
I'm so for it. We just had we just watched that Harry Potter house tournament of houses. And that was like, I mean, our house this year just happened to fall on the theme of the 20th anniversary of Harry Potter. I didn't do it on purpose. It just worked out that way. So my whole house was already decorated in Hogwarts everything.
Awesome.
So, our tree was a giant Hogwarts tree with the Sorting Hat on top and all the Harry Potter stuff. Our mantle was like pictures of the teachers and some of the people, you would see in the moving portraits that happen in Harry Potter.
That's awesome.
We just did all the things, and I wasn't even paying attention to the Tournament of Houses when it first started coming out, and then all the cool things, right? So the Gryffindors, the lion being like, really blazing and loud. We thought that was going to be it, right? Everyone just assumes that, Gryffindors are just going to take over, and they didn't even make it into the finals. I mean, for real. So yeah, rah, Team Hufflepuff, even though I'm a Ravenclaw, Team Hufflepuff, Gryffindors will win. Sorry.
And I think Hufflepuff would be the least that you expect, right?
Oh my gosh. So Hufflepuff is just so unique. Like their loyalties, their traits are just more of the friend, being loyal, being a good friend, things along those lines. I remember watching, if anyone's a big theatrical person, I love Puffs musical theater, loosely based upon the Harry Potter Wizarding World, just enough to not be copywritten. and it was amazing. It focuses on the house of Puffs, the Huffpuffs, and why they're so like special and unique in their own way. And it really was those same traits that you see in Puffs is the exact same traits you see in the Tournament of Houses, which is what won them the house cup. So I absolutely love the fact that none of our houses really won. Our house is a house divided. If you're a Harry Potter fan, our house is a house divided. So most of the house is Team Ravenclaw. My oldest is a Slytherin, and we assume by nature that Theo is a Hufflepuff. That's kind
nice. I love it. The Hufflepuff baby.
Yeah, I know, right? So it's so funny that the house won. He had no idea what it was, but he was just singing for the TV like, rah, I made it, rah, we did it. And I'm just kind of like, okay, like everyone's got their wands out,
Right. So I love it.
So yes, I am so for all the things that are all about just kind of wanting to set a tone, for the summer. You can be funny and silly and kind of let loose a little bit in the summer. And that's kind of what we've done through the holiday season to keep things light and airy around here. So yeah, I'm really excited. I'm glad that you mentioned Blaze. That's really important to kind of think about ways that we can also not only sustain ourselves, but sustain other people, but also just help fill our cup up too, because we need that reverse reaction to kind of fill our own cups up. So yes, girl on point. August Occupy. What do you think we should do for that? I'm kind of curious.
That is an interesting one. Like, I feel like it could go in a couple of different ways. Like, I feel like it reminds me kind of our theme Space that we had. Was that 2 seasons ago?
Yes.
So yes. So like when I think of occupy, like, you can think of occupations like job, but I think of like being in a space, like occupying, taking it over. So it could be like taking it over, or it could just be like being there, like being present. So I think we could take it in a few different directions with occupy.
Oh, I love that. Okay, y'all heard that first. I love that. Occupy to take up space. Not occupy to celebrate where we are, but to necessarily take up space. I need more of that in my life.
I think occupy is like active, right? Like it's an active word.
Yes, it's
like something, these troops occupy. I think it's always like we think about it in war terms. Like I always remember it from like U.S. history and just other history classes. Occupy is one of those words that it's very action oriented, very like action. It's a verb. It's a really strong verb that you get many connotations from. So
yeah, I'm totally feeling that, and that works perfectly with the next month, which would be Intense, which I feel like is right on the money. We're talking about September. We're talking about fall, seasons changing. We're going from hot to colds for a lot of people that can kind of have more of a downward or negative spiral in some areas, or lower energy, if you will. As we talk more about, New Year and sentiments and things along those lines. So intent just has a lot of different types of connotations to it, right? But I love the fact too that, intent in a lot of ways for us as creatives and women in tech, intent really comes with a level of deeper meaning for ourselves. Intention, not necessarily for everybody else, but intention for ourselves. This is the time when we start looking inward, right? We're getting close to that holiday season. We're getting close to all the other things. We have to start thinking about ourselves before we can start going out and doing all the other things for everyone else. So yeah, I think that'll be right on time, having intent involved. And then hesitate. I mean, October's always been something around, like, fear, doubt, things over previous things that we've done in the past. And this time we're looking at hesitate. And I love that because I'm just like, in my head, every time I think of hesitate, I'm thinking, don't.
Right. Or it's like a kind of like a caution sign or like a yellow flashing light or something. I think of hesitation, but hesitation is not always a bad thing. Like, I think hesitation can lead to reflection, which can also mean that, like, instead of just jumping forward and, moving full speed ahead, hesitate just means that you're taking time. And usually it's like connected to some sort of fear or something, like something that you're dealing with internally. Like I'm going to always go back to the example of Danielle's growing team, because that's like it was a thing where, like, I feel like, and this, I'll put your business out there for a second because we've talked about it, but, like, I feel like it's a thing that she resisted for a very long time. And like, I think the hesitation was just that, like, I think she knew that if Danielle, knew that, like, if she took this step, like, it basically meant, like, there's no going back. Like, once you went this way, like, you were full speed ahead. There was, like, no stopping you. And, like, I mean, it's scary because I think you knew that you were, like, on the cusp of that next level. And I think that's very scary to think about. So I think whenever we're hesitating about something, it's not necessarily because it's like, because, like, it's something bad, like, it's not something ominous all the time. It's taking us out of our comfort zone. And I know, like, you talked about it, and, like, you were kind of sort of there, but she was trying to dip like a toe in. She wasn't, like, jumping in. Oh, man, she wasn't fully diving in. She was like, okay, I can just do like one. The VA was the toe. There we go. Her hiring the virtual assistant was the toe. And then I feel like she hesitated for like a year after that. And then finally, it went from like one person to like, it grew, you 4 at a time, 5 at a time? Yeah, it grew very quickly. But I think that was like all that momentum from the hesitation that just propelled her forward. So I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but I always feel like whenever you hesitate to do something, you kind of have to do that reflection and introspection and be like, okay, is this something that's actually bad, or am I just scared because instead of being here where I'm used to being, I'm going to have to be here, and that's really scary. And I think, like I said, I'm not saying like, oh yeah, like I just take all the risks. Like, no, before I do anything, when I was young, like, girl, I would do anything. I'm like, girl, let's do it. You want to go to Colombia? You want to go to South America tomorrow? Let's go. Like, I was down for whatever when I was younger because I just didn't have that fear. I mean, maybe some of that's like I have more common sense now. But yes. I was just always a risk taker in terms of like, I'm going to do stuff that nobody's ever done. And I feel that, like, now that I'm older and I have not just myself to consider, which I'm sure is part of what happened with you as well. Yes. You have so many other like irons in the fire and like people to consider other than yourself. Like, that's another one of the things. But I'm excited about hesitate and what kind of advice and stories and just like what kind of stew we gonna get out of that, what kind of sauce we gonna get out of the hesitate. I'm excited.
Gosh. And that's one of the things too that makes it so cool about the show is that we hear so many different people's stories and we hear so many different people's testimonials about how they pivoted their life or how they did something and this reaction happened in a positive way for them, and vice versa. We've heard some pretty aggressive stories that things were going really downhill and it was really tough. So just hearing these inspirational and empowering stories from other women and men in the creative and tech areas from around the world, just really just inspiring. So I think November and December, as we're celebrating, one of December's theme is to celebrate or achieve. November is to adore. I just want to make a very hard effort to really lean into that, really hardcore. Well, whatever we pick up from Hesitate and learn from through that experience, I really just want to push forward into, adoring the season, adoring the places that we're in, and really just kind of celebrating all the achievements that, that we'll be able to have throughout the year, celebrating all things that we have done in 2022 that maybe that we couldn't do in 2021. I had mentioned in my personal Instagram end of year. I don't have a personal Instagram, but I mean in Octane's end of year Instagram, I made a really strong note. The way that I lived 2021 really is directly impacting the way that I want to live in 2022. And so that's one of the things where I'm just like, you live, you learn, you pick up, and you keep going. So, wherever you are in the season for 2021, maybe it was a good year, it was a bad year, maybe it was just a meh year. Wherever that is, we're going to keep on pushing really hard to keep finding stories and people that are inspiring and encouraging us to keep moving forward, keep doing that work on self that Cicely always preaches about, and just kind of uplifting ourselves. And hopefully that will help encourage and enlighten other people who are looking at our impact and the impact that we're making, and take that head on, to challenge themselves.
Absolutely. Preach, Danielle.
Yeah.
I love it.
I'm laughing. Okay. But I mean,
I love that you said that though about 2021 setting yourself up for 2022. Mm-hmm. And I think it's really hard for yourself sometimes to look at all the things you've accomplished, because I feel like as individuals, as people who are trying to run successful businesses, as people who just, are pulled in many different directions, we never take the time to really appreciate all the things that we've done in 365 days.
Oh my God.
That's real.
Yes.
That is real. I can look up from the outside and be like, oh my God, look, I could name 5 ways right now that Danielle grew that I saw from the outside looking in. Of course, I don't know all the work you did on self, but I can see from, these few events, I can see that this is how she grew, and this is how I see the business growing, all those things. But I feel, and thank God for the Snapchat and the Instagram and the Facebook memories, because I be forgetting I did stuff, and I be like, I did that this year, I didn't even remember, or last year, I didn't even remember. There's stuff that I forget. Me and Ryan were talking about, so I do a vision board every year, so mine is already done, and I add to it throughout the year, and I change things, but mine, I be having my vision board done at the end of December. I'm an overachiever when it comes to that. But I also write out I've heard of this thing from Steve Harvey. He's doing the most because he wants you to write 300 things you want to achieve in the year. And it can be small things, little, learn how to swim, learn how to rollerblade, whatever. It can be super small things or big things. I couldn't get 300 because I'm like, Steve, we're going to be here all day. And I mean, I'm sure there's 300 things I would like to do, but we're going to be here all day. So I got to 75, I think, last year and then the year before. So I look back, and then when you go through that list and you're checking things off, I probably didn't get through half, maybe 30. But when you look at it, you're like, wow, I didn't even realize until I go back and take stock of my year and think about what happened. I didn't realize I'd done these things. I put goals for my marriage, goals for myself as a parent, goals for my relationship with my bonus kids. I put all these things on there. And then when it took me physically looking back and not being able to I accomplished so much this year. I couldn't do that off the top of my head. But when I look at that list, I was like, girl, look at you out here. Wow. I didn't even realize. And I didn't even realize. So that's my number one thing. I always tell people, if to me, the word, the written word and the spoken word are probably the 2 most powerful things. So when people pray over you, when your friends wish you well, when you say I'm going to be this, I'm going to do this. Those are, I feel like your words are so powerful. You're like, oh, I'm not going to do this, or I could never do that. I always feel if you say that, then that's what you believe, and that's what will happen, right? So if I write things down and I focus on things, and it's a thing where, I don't know, it's a faith-based thing too. I can't sit and be okay, well, God, I want this, pray really hard for it, and then be mad every day when I don't have it. I have to pray for it and then just kind of push it out. Just push it out of, I can't be focused on it. I can't be fixated. Mm-hmm. I have to continue to live the rest of my life. Yes, I want to do this one thing, or I want to do these things, or this is my big goal for this year, but I cannot be obsessed with it. It has to be in the back of my head, and I have to be doing the little steps every day to get there. Yeah. But I cannot hyper fixate on this idea and be well, I'm not getting what I want, and start pouting about it and stop doing the work. You have to have that goal in mind. That's why I do the vision board, so I'm a visual girl. I like to see. I got to be seeing what's going on. So pictures and words. And so when I see those things, I'm like, girl, you was out here. You was out here. And every day that you look at that, subconsciously, you're reminding yourself, this is what I'm working for. This is what I'm going to have. Yes. This is what I am. This is who I am. This is who, and you can't even say will be. This is not the future. We're talking about right now. I am this person now. I am, I'm business owner, I'm fit, I'm in shape, like I'm all these things that I'm trying to be. I am those now. So it's all about the language and really just putting things in perspective. But like I said, thank God for the memories, because half the time I feel like the years go by so fast you wouldn't even remember. Like, how did people remember stuff before Facebook memories? Like, what were we doing?
Right. I mean, yes, all the sentiments for 2022. I mean, I feel like a lot of us are in a place where we just don't know, right? And
right.
The most positive thing that we can do to turn that type of headspace around is to speak that positivity into ourselves. And I feel like that's what I really got out of that, Cicely, was if we don't say it to ourselves, we can't expect other people to say it to us if we're not already saying it to ourselves. So that's kind of where I'm at with
that was it. Sometimes you got to breathe life into yourself. Like, we talk about House of the Dragon. Sometimes you got to be the dragon. You got to be the one breathing fire, breathing life into yourself.
That's right.
You cannot always depend on your friends, on your family, on your spouses, on whoever to do that. Sometimes you got to fan the fire yourself. Like, you got to be the one to do it. If I can't wake up every morning and say, I'm a registered nurse, like, not I'm going to be, I am already. Because it's here. So this time next year, we'll be on the road to being exactly what I said I am. But I have to believe it first. Like, it starts with me. I've got to plant the seed for myself. That, like, this is what I am, and that's it.
Yeah.
So what are we gonna do to get there? So
that's it.
It's fanning the fire.
Ooh, drop mic, Cicely. I love it.
Look, we should do this more often when I'm sick. That's when all the ideas come out.
I love it. Absolutely love this. This has been so, like, I'm really excited. I'm just really excited for season 4. I'm so excited for what's coming. I'm excited for us just doing all the things. We're really living into the things that we said that we were dreaming about. Speaking into the things that we said that we wanted to do, and we're actually seeing it come to fruition. So I am just like on cloud 9 about what's next that we didn't even see coming, that's going to turn its little corner and be like, ta-da, surprise.
Shout out to Samantha Johnson. What's the best that can happen?
Hey,
that's it. That is it.
Yeah.
I'm not accepting anything less. When people say, what's the word? I'm like, don't you start saying that. It's like, right on top of the head. No, we're not doing that. What's the best that can happen? Because it forces people to think. Remember, you got to rethink. It forces you to rethink. We're always so used to thinking about the negative, the bad. What's the best that can happen? Force yourself to think about the good stuff, because I ain't focusing on nothing bad. Bad things will happen because that's life, but it's how we react to them. I'm not going to be overreactive no more.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it.
I'm just going to let it just roll off what I can and then keep trucking. We ain't doing that no more.
I love it. I absolutely love this. This is what I hope, if anyone is getting anything out of this, we're just pumping ourselves up here at the end of this. But
yeah, it's the hype session.
It's the hype session. I hope you're getting hyped just as much as we're getting hyped, because we are here to support women in tech and women creatives. That's the bottom line. We're here to empower and inspire you in whatever way that we can. We're here to uplift you with encouraging words, being able to share our life stories to inspire the next generation of strong, courageous, empowering women. So whatever I can do to do that, I will do. And so that is why this whole thing started. I wanted to be more than graphics, and I meant that not only in the physical sense of not being a robot, but also being more in tune with doing being fulfilled and empowered to do things that I want to do. So being more than just the graphics that I produce, being more than just the 9 to 5 that I work. So that's really what inspired, again, this podcast. And so apparently it's really clicking with people, because we're here for our 4th season. It kicks off here on daggone Thursday. So, I mean, you're literally going to be getting a front row seat at a lot of the things that we're doing for season 4. Be on the lookout for our promos. We'll be out putting cool stuff like that out. We have all kinds of fun things to do this year. We really rethought about how our social media strategy will play out, how we want to keep our community involved in all the things that we're doing. So just be on the lookout for all the goodies and announcements that we'll be pushing out in a little while. So this has been like a really cool, a little bit elongated teaser, but it was so worth it. I hope you enjoyed every single word, and we look forward to kicking off season 1 on Thursday. So see y'all.
Bye.